My husband hasn't spoken to me in a week. How do I handle the silent treatment? Recently my husband got mad at me. He wanted to spend money we didn't have to go visit his sister out of town when we had bills to pay. And we were headed that way in a few weeks anyway. I didn't say no. We just have no money and I wanted him to wait. I can't even buy my kids what they need and he wants to go on a trip. Now he won't speak to me. He barely acknowledges that I'm in the room. It's been a week. He will only talk to me through text and that's only necessary things, kids and bills. He does this often and I can't take it anymore. How do I handle the silent treatment? I usually keep trying to talk to him until he makes me apologize. But I just don't have it in me anymore and I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm not a typical Redditor. I'm an old married lady. Your husband is a man baby. He's forcing you into apologizing. You don't owe him anything. Personally, I'd take his silence as a blessing and use the opportunity to just text him things to do. Do not let him manipulate you into apologizing for his shitty behavior. You're just rewarding and reinforcing his tantrum. You're a mother. You'd not tolerate this in your children. Yes, it is sad you have to treat him as a child, but he chose to act like one. I usually keep trying to talk to him until he makes me apologize. Counseling, therapy, or divorce. Sounds harsh, but I can understand not having the capacity to do that anymore. I was in relationships like that and absolutely cannot stand that anymore. Add children and I'd honestly throw the whole man out. If I don't want myself to go through this, I'd never have a child be exposed to that. He's a grown adult. If he can't act like one, he shouldn't be a husband or father. Yes. My tolerance for this BS is essentially non-existent. Prepare him his porridge and sippy cup and put out his fuzzy socks. Because if he wants to act like a toddler, he gets treated like one. Posts like this help me feel less lonely while single. I definitely don't want to be treated like this in a relationship. You tell him that this is emotional abuse and you will not tolerate it. Tell him that the two of you will discuss this tomorrow after he's had some time to really think about how he's handled this situation and after he's considered if this is the way he wants your relationship to be. Your husband is stonewalling you. Per the relationship psychologist Gottman, this is one of the 4 horsemen of divorce. Your husband is withdrawing from you, silent treatment to display his disapproval of you. Stonewalling is the most severe of the 4 horsemen. Because of the withdrawal, lack of communication, you can try to engage in activities that help soothe you until he's ready to talk. Ultimately, this behavior needs to be addressed and you both need to find better, healthier ways of voicing and handling disapproval within your marriage. Best way to combat this is to act normal. Go watch TV. Have fun doing what you normally would. Literally ignore him back but seem really happy. He will get pissed his silent treatment isn't working and break the ice. The silent treatment is abuse. I once had my ex ignore me for weeks. I finally broke and begged and sobbed, and yeah, that is what he wanted. It's an abusive and manipulative tactic that only an immature asshole employs. I divorced the man that did that to me. Please make a plan to leave. This was my father growing up. He didn't speak to me for weeks, sometimes months during high school. I'm 30 and still in therapy. Like another poster said, enjoy the silence and go on about your daily routine. Let the man baby pout. If he wants to travel, he should figure out the financial end to accomplish that. This is passive-aggressive behavior and a form of abuse. Believe me, I lived with my mother who perfected the silent treatment. A therapist is the one who showed me the light. Silently divorce the idiot. Silently slip him those divorce papers and he'll probably open up a bit. Question: why did he want to see his sister now instead of waiting another few weeks for the Plan trip? Was there a family emergency? I used to apologize for every fight, even when I was right. Heck, I apologize for breathing. Sometimes I am in the process of breaking that habit. You should too. Don't reward him for childish behavior. He had to know that the money wasn't there for 2 trips. I suspect he might be picking fights with you. I don't know if his ego needs a boost or what, but it definitely seems like this is a made-up fight. Dump that motherfucker already. Life's too short to put up with that type of crap. Enjoy the silence as you plan your exit strategy. Make it clear that you don't mind his silence a single bit, and it even helps make your day better. Not having to interact with him. It is abusive. By the way, get your finances safely separated and get a lawyer to tell you what your rights are. No one has to put up with this crap. You're married to a child. If you're doing any chores for him, stop doing that. I like the idea of bringing him drinks in a sippy cup and kids' dishes. Treat him like the child he's behaving like. My mill does this to Phil, and I think it is so childish. My husband did it once. I told him that if he has something to say, to talk to me like an adult, but I will not tolerate the silent treatment. That it's childish. And it's no way to help a relationship. I don't think we were even married yet when this happened. He has never done it since. I have been married almost 40 years to the same man. He's doing something called stonewalling, which is manipulative and really immature for an adult to do. He's trying to prompt a reaction from you by driving you crazy. Just ignore him and he'll see that it isn't working, and he'll hopefully stop. I'm 40 and your husband is being a dickhead man baby. Remind him you wanted a husband, not another child. He sounds like a child. Get rid of him. Do you need to be married to this baby? Well, usually you can't marry until you're over 18. But seems you managed to marry a toddler. Don't answer his texts, etc. Just ignore him and do what you want to do. Pretend he's not even there if he won't speak to you. Is your husband a fucking child? WTF. This may sound callous, but my wife did this for years. At some point I just realized it's her problem and not mine. And I just stopped letting it bother me. Funny enough, it didn't take long for her to stop. I don't think she either did it on purpose or consciously stopped, but just subconsciously at some point realized it wasn't doing any good. Didn't make me feel bad. And wasn't really punishing me. So it just phases out. Your husband is a sack of shit who can't communicate. Don't give in to him. You have nothing to apologize for. It's not your fault he couldn't afford to see his sister when he wanted, but he will see her soon. Anyway. That is an abusive manipulation technique. Break up with him and find someone who respects you. A week. I've had 3 weeks of silent treatment because I was ordered to do the bins on a Tuesday night and I hadn't done them within 15 minutes of the demand. I was washing the dishes at the time. I hate the silent treatment. It's like being stabbed each day. It's one of the worst manipulations ever. And yet it seems a standard tool in the wife-marital arsenal of weapons to be deployed against husbands. I'm not usually one to speculate, but this seems to be a really odd response for not getting to visit his sister. Especially if you guys are doing so in a few weeks. Do you think that's really what the trip was for? Narcissistic silent treatment is when a narcissist ignores and avoids interacting with you to punish, control, or communicate that they are unhappy with you. It's a form of manipulation. And this toxic behavior can negatively impact the victim psychologically and emotionally. I would leave the loser. I hate grown kids that don't know how to communicate.